Deputy Prime Minister and Treasurer Wayne Swan has been a close friend and then cabinet colleague of Kevin Rudd's, and I spoke with him earlier tonight in our Sydney studio. Wayne Swan, how big a problem has Kevin Rudd become for the government in this campaign?
Well, I'm not surprised there's some focus on Kevin during the campaign. Leadership changes are always difficult for political parties, and of course we've seen in the Liberal Party 2 leadership changes. I'm also not surprised there's focus on Kevin's local campaign. He can't do much about the focus on his campaign. There's interest in that, and there will be interest in Kevin as we go forward. The most important thing we can do is get on with the campaign.
Yes, but there's this other slight problem that you haven't referred to, and that's the leaks.
Well, Kerry, you've been around in politics a long time, and I've been around a while too, and I generally have given up speculating about the source of leaks.
Except in this instance. This is a unique situation, as far as I can think, where a leader, a Prime Minister, has been deposed within the shadow of an election, is still there as part of the government, aspiring to be a member of the Cabinet if you win the election. And there are these damaging leaks coming, it would seem, from both sides within the government.
Well, Kerry, I don't buy into the conspiracy theories. I believe Kevin is well motivated. I also believe he's an important part of our team as we go forward. We've got a very good story to tell the Australian people under Prime Minister Gillard, and I believe that we will succeed in telling that story. But in any campaign, Kerry, there's always going to be a focus in areas like this. It's only natural. I don't think there's anything that anybody can do about that focus other than getting on with telling our very good story to the Australian people.
But before you can get on, the leaks have to stop. With each leak that comes, the damage grows.
Well, Kerry, we can't control leaks, and I certainly can't predict where they're coming from. But I've learnt one thing in politics: I don't always follow the obvious explanation and or the conspiracy theory.
How recently have you spoken to Kevin Rudd?
Look, I'm not going into any of the discussions that I've had with Kevin Rudd.
Now, I'm not asking you to tell me what you've said to each other. I'm saying, how recently have you spoken to?
Well, I'm not going into discussions that I've had with Kevin Rudd, and I don't think that I ought to.
But does that include hiding from the Australian electorate whether you've spoken to anyone?
No,
what is there...
Kerry, I'm not hiding from anybody. I'm not hiding from anybody.
Well, when was the last time you spoke to him?
I'm out there campaigning, but I'm not going to go into the detail of discussions that I've had with Kevin Rudd, or for that matter, others, when it comes to the questions of leadership. I'm just not going to do that. And I don't think that that works either, because all it does is feed the sort of stories that you're talking about, which you say are causing difficulties for our campaign. So I don't intend to do that.
Oh.
And there's no way in the world, and you can ask the questions all you like, that I'm going to do that tonight.
Well, I'm going to ask a question that you're not actually addressing. I'm not asking you to tell me what you and Kevin Rudd have or are saying to each other.
Sure.
I'm simply asking you to tell me when you actually last spoke to him.
Well,
now, is there a potential embarrassment?
No, there's no potential embarrassment.
Well, then when
but
did you
there's
last
no potential
speak to him?
story in it either. So I'm not going into the nature of the discussions I've had with him or the timing of the discussions that I've had with him. Kevin Rudd is a candidate in this campaign. He's out there campaigning. I'm a senior minister, deputy prime minister in this campaign. I'm out there doing that as well. And that's what the public expect me to do, and that's precisely what I intend to continue doing.
Kevin Rudd is not just a candidate for Labor in this campaign. Kevin Rudd is aspiring to be a senior minister in the Gillard Government. Julia Gillard has made plain on more than one occasion that there is a senior ministry for him.
Exactly.
I would suggest to you that it is absolutely relevant to people making their judgments about this government in whether they vote for or against it, as to how coherent you would be in government. And in doing that, I'm asking you whether you have had any contact with Kevin Rudd. You see, you've been a friend of Kevin Rudd's for a long time. And when you were asked, I think a few days after the leadership change, whether you'd seen Kevin Rudd, you said, "No, I haven't, but I intend to catch up." But why is it a sensitive issue for you to say whether you've even seen him?
Because it simply feeds the sort of stories that you're talking about. I've been campaigning right around Australia. In the last 4 or 5 days, I've been around northern Queensland, I've been to Darwin, I've been to Perth, and I'm back here. I will run into Kevin Rudd in the course of the campaign, and I will be talking to Kevin Rudd in the course of the campaign.
That suggests that you haven't.
No, it doesn't suggest that at all. But the one thing I'm not going to do is to go on your program and talk about dates, times, contents of conversations. End of story.
Well, Julia Gillard said this morning that she hadn't spoken to Kevin Rudd. She didn't seem to find a problem in that. But why wouldn't she lift the phone to Kevin Rudd herself when this is an issue that has the potential to damage the government?
According to you, it's an issue that has the potential to damage the campaign or the government.
You've been around politics a very long time, Mr Swan. You don't think this has any capacity to affect people's judgments?
Kerry, it may, but there's nothing we can do about the speculation. What we can do is to get out there and campaign and to tell our very good story, particularly about our economic stewardship of this economy and our plans for the future. That's what Julia Gillard has been doing, and that's what I've been doing throughout the campaign.
I'm told that there are now serious misgivings within the government about the wisdom of having Kevin Rudd in the Cabinet. Do you share those misgivings?
No, I don't share those misgivings. I most certainly don't. Julia Gillard has made the position absolutely clear. There will be a position for him as a senior minister if the government is re-elected, and I say if, because we are in a contestable election. We don't take that lightly, and we are out there arguing the case for the return of the government.
Few people know Kevin Rudd better than you do in politics. Do you believe that he is an honourable person in this affair?
I do believe that he is an honourable person. I do believe that he is doing everything that he possibly can to see the return of the government, including campaigning in his electorate. He's a very good local campaigner. He simply cannot move around his electorate without attracting attention for some of the reasons that you've mentioned before. But also, I have a role in the campaign. I have a senior role in the campaign, and I'm moving around the country, and I'm talking to candidates every day. Candidates in marginal seats that deserve the attention of senior ministers. That's what I'm doing as I move through Mackay, Cairns, Townsville, Perth, Canberra, and further afield.
That sounds a little bit like I've been everywhere, man.
Well, I certainly have, and I will again. But the point, Kerry, here is that is what the government is doing to earn its re-election.
And you have these diversions now.
Sure, and Kerry, there's nothing we can do about that.
Well,